everybody.
Welcome back to the True Crime Sisters channel. Today we are going to talk about Jim Jones and the Jonestown Massacre. It's a pretty interesting story, I feel like, to me. I've seen like a few documentaries and stuff on it, and some
It's
of
pretty known.
Yeah. And they have so much like actual footage and stuff from it, and he made like lots of recordings or like a recording at the end that can be googled and heard. So there was a lot of kind of like actual evidence for this one, as opposed to some of the other ones we talk about like don't usually have as much pictures and videos and stuff.
Even some survivors, like...
Yeah. Yes.
So. Alright, well, let's get into it. James Warren Jones was born on May 13th, 1931 in Indiana. His parents were James Jones and Lynetta Putnam.
Yeah, I don't know. Putnam, I guess.
Putnam. Okay. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
In 1934, due to the Great Depression, the family was forced to move into a different town, and they lived in a shack that had no plumbing. People recalled later that Jim was a very odd child. They said that he had a weird obsession with death and religion, and that he would often kill and bury animals.
Yikes.
Number one red flag.
Yeah. If you know anybody that does it, run.
Yikes. Jim's dad was an alcoholic who never really worked throughout his childhood, and Jim also claims that his father was a member of the KKK. Jim and his father had very different opinions when it came to the matters of race, and argued a lot about it. Jim was really passionate about racial equality, and from a young age wanted to be an advocate, and was very upset about the discrimination the black community was facing. One day, a person from his neighborhood invited him to attend their Pentecostal church. The people were very nice and welcoming of him. They made him feel comfortable, and he loved being there. He became very interested in the preachers, and he really looked up to them.
So later on, Jim's mom and dad got a divorce, and he moved with his mother to Richmond, Indiana. And in 1948, he graduates from high school early with honors. Jim then starts working at Reed Hospital as an orderly, and this is where he met Marceline Baldwin. Marceline? Yeah.
I think.
And they got married in 1949 and moved to Bloomington, Indiana. He attended university for a bit, and then in 1951, the couple moved to Indianapolis, where he attended Butler University. And he eventually earned his degree in 1961 in secondary education. So Jim and his wife then began to start their family. They had 9 children throughout the years, most of which were adopted. Jim referred to them as the Rainbow family because all of the members were of different races. And side note, because so many different places said that they had a different amount of children, and how many biological children they had was very weird, because at one point he claimed that one of the kids was a biological kid, but somebody else claimed that it wasn't, and it was actually their kid. So there was a lot of confusion with the kids, but they had several, and they were all different races, so he just called them the Rainbow family, which I don't think would be used as a term now. At least I hope not. I think they should just be referred to as a family now. But
yeah.
I guess, in the 60s, that was an unusual thing to see with a family. So,
yeah.
But, so a Methodist superintendent helped Jim get his start within a church. And in 1952, he started at the Somerset Southside Methodist Church, that's hard to say, as a student pastor. But he didn't stay there long, and he left the church because they would not allow him to bring the black community into the church. And he was really focused on being able to bring everyone together.
In 1956, Jim organized a religious convention that would take place in June. To draw people in, he brought in William M. Branham, who was a healing evangelist. Jim really looked up to William and his practices. They had huge crowds during the convention, bringing around 11,000 people to see them. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, to see some dude say that he could heal people. That was probably, just a complete
I feel like people
fraud.
were like really gullible back then.
Yeah.
Which
I think during that time, there was a lot going on because, he was actually, really focused on, bringing people together, and people did like that, so,
yeah.
I guess they saw that and they were like, oh,
he was
cool.
a good talker.
Yeah.
Jim decided to start his own church family. Own church, finally. Settling on a name. He called it People's Temple Christian Church Full Gospel. That is such a long title.
Bro, just make it simple. Call it church and then call it a day.
People were very interested in Jim's church because they really loved the fact that its focus was bringing people of all races together. In 1960, the mayor of Indianapolis named Jim as the director of Human Rights Commission. However, the mayor told him that with this position, he should stay out of the public eye. Jim didn't listen, though, and kept trying to grow his platform, taking any opportunity to gain more followers. He would speak on the radio, TV, and anywhere he could get extra attention. During this time, Jim actually did a lot of great things for racial equality. He helped integrate churches, restaurants, and other businesses. He set up sting operations to catch businesses who were refusing service to black customers. In 1961, Jim found himself in a hospital and apparently was accidentally placed in the black ward, but he refused to be moved. He began helping make beds and emptying bedpans for the other patients who were not being taken care of very well. He would correspond with Nazis and release the letters they would send back in hopes of letting people see how terrible these people were.
Yeah, and it's just so crazy to me that he did all of this good stuff, and then where the we all know where the story
seems like
ends
he
up.
had really good intentions
At first,
in the beginning.
Yeah, definitely he did. But so Jim really wasn't fond of Indiana anymore, and he moved his family to California. Everything was going really well at first for the family there, but Starting in the 70s, Jim started to preach against Christianity, and he would tell people that the Bible was being used to racially segregate people. By 1971, the People's Temple had opened more locations and they had thousands of followers. So Jim started doing tours across the country to see all of his people. And as a lot of older members started to join, Jim would convince them to sell their homes and belongings and donate all of the money to the church. And in return for doing this, he would create large homes for them to all live together in. And other members started to quit their jobs so that they could volunteer to help with the church, the needs of the church. But technically it wasn't a volunteer position because Jim was actually paying them. But he told them that they would need to donate their paychecks back to the church to, make things right. And then he would give them an allowance of $5 a week. So, I don't know. They were volunteering, but they weren't volunteering, but they were volunteering. But, Jim started setting down rules for the members. I don't know why he did this, or anything, I guess, but he told them that they were all gay and that sex was selfish and that they should not be having it. Meanwhile, he was having sex with both male and female members and had several affairs throughout his entire marriage. But one day he wanted to test the people, so he started handing out drinks. And after they started drinking it, he told them that it was poisoned. People were obviously scared, but he told them this was just a test and that he wanted to test their loyalty. He told them that if the government were to come after them someday, he wanted them all to die rather than to be captured. But I don't understand why he announced, you all are gay. It's
probably to make it okay for him.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah. If they thought they were all gay, then it seemed
if he showed them a certain side that he wanted them to think
it was cool. Everyone was like that. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
In 1974, Jim and his family moved to San Francisco, California. With the assassinations of Martin Luther King Jr. and JFK, Jim started to get paranoid since he and his members were trying to make changes too. He was receiving threats and was worried the government would come after him. Around this time, Jim said he was having issues with his kidney, so he started taking drugs because that helps kidneys.
Exactly, yeah. Take some psychedelics to kind of
Some of the members thought Jim was starting to lose it a little bit. And one member did an interview and disclosed everything that was going on inside of the church, alleging there was physical, emotional, and sexual abuse in hopes that it would be investigated. When he found out about this article, Jim decided to move many of his followers to a private island, which he called...
I think it's pronounced Guyana.
Yeah. They wanted to be free from the government, so they decided to build their own community on this island. They would send videos back to the other temple members to show them how much freedom they had and how great it was. They had around 500 people go to the island to start building their community. By 1978, Jonestown had a population of around 900. It had everything they needed, from restaurants to clinics and to even have daycares. Rumors started going around that the members of the temple were being brainwashed and forced to stay there. Jim was blackmailing the people, saying that they had committed crimes and that he would go to the police if they ever left. people were working around the clock doing their assigned duties in the community.
And not getting anything in return.
No.
So, eventually, there were some people that started to not like Jonestown anymore, and many of them wanted to leave, but, were obviously too scared to try. Jim became even more controlling and abusive. He made ridiculous rules and would punish people if they broke the rules. Sometimes he would punish them by public humiliation. He would also spank and beat them. At one point, Jim was caught raping a woman, but claimed that he was doing it for her. I think that was the only time that he got caught, but he was doing it.
Because that made sense.
Yeah. Yeah, he was doing it more than just that one time.
Right.
So, meanwhile, a group of concerned relatives back in the United States were pressuring the government to investigate. A few of them even went to the Capitol to plead for somebody to start an investigation and find out what was happening in Jonestown. Once the article that we talked about earlier was finally published, Congressman Leo Ryan decided that he wanted to go to Jonestown himself and find out what was going on. So on November 15th, 1978, Leo Ryan, an NBC camera crew, reporters, and some of the family members of Temple members arrived at Jonestown. Jim planned a ceremony for their arrival, and he told all the Temple members to act really happy, and they put together a fun party to welcome these outsiders. However, during the party, some members began giving notes to the congressman and some of the reporters, saying that they wanted to get out of there. And they confronted Jim about these notes, and Jim gave a line of bullshit and said that they just wanted to be left alone and that anyone who wanted to leave could do so. They continued to do interviews with different Temple members, and many of them expressed the same things, that they just wanted to go home.
The next day, a member walked up to Leo Ryan with a knife and attacked him. His security immediately said it was not safe there and said that they needed to get out of here as soon as possible. They took several members who wanted to leave with them and headed towards their airplane. As they were boarding the plane, Jim's guards, called Red Brigade, arrived at the plane and started shooting at everyone. Congressman Leo Ryan, NBC cameraman Donald Harris and Bob Brown, and Examiner photographer Greg Robinson, and a Temple member were all killed. Once Jim found out what happened, he started panicking because he knew that now the government would be coming after him and that he would be in a lot of trouble. So he made an announcement and told all the members what happened. In order to keep everyone there, he told them that the government would be coming after them and they would kill them all and torture their children. Jim told them that the only way to save themselves was by revolutionary suicide.
So, Jim and some of the other members made grape Kool-Aid and put cyanide in it. He then passed it out to everyone. And Jim had been actually having cyanide shipped to Jonestown for quite a while. And he was able to obtain a jeweler's license and said that he needed it to clean gold. So that was why he was able to buy it legally. Which I didn't know that you use cyanide to clean jewels.
Me neither.
Yeah. But when one member protested, saying that dying wasn't the only way out, she was shot and killed. So this is when people started to realize that there wasn't going to be another way out. Some of them drank it willingly, but some members who wouldn't drink it had to be forcefully injected with it. People were being beaten to take it, and parents were actually forcing their kids to drink it. And after, I guess most people had already drank it, Jim then shot himself. And 909 temple members died that day.
Why didn't he drink it?
Yeah, I know.
Wanted the easy way.
Yeah. Because obviously, we know from the story we just did a couple weeks ago, the Candyman, that it makes you like violently ill for a bit before you die. So he was like, I'm not going
out like that.
Yeah. But there were 5 people who were able to escape. And they actually just kind of like ran off into the jungle and hid out. Hid out? Yeah, I guess. That didn't sound right. But 3 of Jim's children were at a nearby town for a basketball game that day. So they were able to survive this mass suicide. In some of the documentaries and stuff, like, they actually showed...
There's a ton with the survivors telling their side of the stories and what happened.
Yeah.
And the ones that actually hid out in the jungle. I remember seeing theirs.
Yeah, and they show... I've seen footage of...
I think they had to stay out there for like... Was it a day?
I'm not sure. Probably they stayed out there for a while to make sure that, like... no one was gonna come and...
I remember seeing at one, like, 2 young girls, and their dad was like, go,
Yeah.
Because they had watched their mom get shot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
super sad.
Yeah, and it's really sad to see, like, when the police then go there, and there's just all this footage of all of these people.
Bodies everywhere.
Yeah. And even in, like, aerial footage that they shot, like, you can just see them laying everywhere.
And then like, his guards, I think... His guards died after him.
Yeah, because
they were, like, ordered to make sure everybody else died.
Because, so they think that Jim shot himself. It's assumed that Jim shot himself. However, one of his sons thinks that he had somebody else do it for him. Like, that he had somebody shoot him.
That wouldn't surprise me.
No.
Yeah,
because, like you said, he didn't want to take the cyanide because he didn't want to die like that. I doubt whether he was,
He seemed like a wuss. Like,
for sure. And it's just so crazy
when
because
everybody else do his dirty work.
Yeah, basically. But like it seems like when he started out, like he started out with good intentions.
Yeah.
And then the attention of it all, and it all went to his... Maybe when people started, like, following him and really, like, interested in what he was saying, then it kind of just, like, went to his head, and he went, cult extreme with it. But, definitely at first he had all the right motives, it seems like. And
yeah. There was that big red flag when he was a kid.
Killing
off animals.
Yes, that was definitely a red flag.
We kind of knew what he was capable of.
Yeah. But all the work that he did with, like, actually setting up his own sting operations.
But he really didn't, like... I don't know. He probably killed people, but he had most of his...
People
guards
do everything for him. Yeah.
I don't kill that person.
I don't think that he personally killed anybody. I think it was, his guards and stuff are the ones that went and killed, like, the crew and the camera crew and stuff. And he was probably, like, beating people and stuff because some of the people didn't want to take it, so they were,
and raping
beaten
people.
And killed. Yeah. So, yeah. He can suck it.
Right.
So that is it for us this week. Make sure to comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. Give us your case suggestions. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, where we post some clips here and there. And we will see you guys next Tuesday.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.